Hey monkeys, it's Jim from Small Time Outlaws bringing you the 14th video in this advanced programming in monkey tutorial series. In this video we'll be learning how to catch errors or exceptions through with the try catch blocks and the throw command. This allows for greater control over error handling in your code so you can hopefully crash more gracefully. Alright, so let's get started with creating a new file, and we're going to create a simple basic try catch block. And we're going to create a main function real fast. Oh no. And basically how these try catch blocks work, you start with the try keyword and you're going to execute some code, and between there and a catch keyword you're going to throw the throw command, and which will throw an exception to this catch keyword. And by default Monkey comes with this throwable object, and when you throw this throwable object it gets stored into this whatever variable identifier you want here, and you can use that afterwards to do any kind of error display or anything. So for here I'm just going to put error thrown, and then we'll end this block. So this is basically how they're set up. And you notice this is a pretty new concept in Monkey. So this version of Monk isn't aware of the try and catch keywords, so it hasn't highlighted them, but they do exist if you have the latest version of Monkey, or at least version 60 or 61. I can't remember when exactly it came out. And so we'll execute some code, and we'll make a simple for loop, and we're gonna run it 5 times. Print off whatever I is, and then we're going to do a check, and we'll say if I is greater than 2, then we're going to throw, and what we're going to throw is a new throwable object. And in Monkey, as soon as it sees this throw command, it's going to stop what it's doing and try to find the catch that takes this throwable object type. And in this case we have one here that's going to print off error thrown when it gets thrown. So when I run this, squeeze this over here, you're going to see it got all the way to 3, and 3 is greater than 2, then it threw the error thrown. So now you can see what happens if it can't find that catch. Run and build, and it's going to say, oh man, this try block must have at least one catch block. So okay, I'll put that back. And so now you're thinking, oh, at least one, so does that mean you can have multiple catches? And yes, it does. So we're going to create another catch, and in this case you can't just do another throwable, because then it's going to get confused. It's going to be like, oh well, which catch do you want me to go to, this throwable, this throwable? So in order to do multiple catches for different types of errors, you create classes, new classes that extend throwable. And so what we'll do here is I'm going to create one. This is for our fatal exceptions. Oh, pretty bad. And this extends throwable. And leave them empty for now. And then for the next one we're going to make some super fatal exceptions. And extends throwable. So now when we want to throw to either of these, you could just set up our fatal and our super fatals. So that's a fatal exception here. And print fatal exception. And then we'll catch another one. This will be our super fatal exception. And we'll print off super fatal fatality. And we'll change this, so we're going to throw a new fatal exception. Okay. So try to run this and it should work, right? Well, no. It's not going to quite work, because as you can see, the catch variable, this class extends an earlier catch class right here. So basically, because of inheritance, and because this actually does qualify as a throwable object because it inherits from it, it gets confused because it can go here because it inherits from it, but it can also go here. So that's why it throws that error. So to fix that, you just take out this throwable, because we're not using throwable anymore. We're using our own types of exceptions. So now I can run this, and it'll throw the fatal exception. You see here, it throws the fatal. And now let's say we want to get rid of this fatal exception. And as you can see, another issue you might run into with these try-catch blocks. If you try to throw an exception that there is no catch for, it's going to throw an error, and it's going to be a runtime error of uncaught monkey exception. And while it still throws an error, it's not the error you want, and it's not going to be able to give you any proper information. So you want to make sure you have catches for all of your thrown exceptions. And so now, just so you can see some cool things you can do while extending this throwable object, I'm going to change this to super fatal exception. So we're going to throw a super fatal exception, and what we want to do is to actually be able to throw a type of exception, but give the user a message that's different depending on where this error was thrown from. So you have this super fatal exception type, and in this case the error was caused by I being greater than 2, so we'll say I was greater than 2. That's why I threw this super fatal exception. And so inside our super fatal exception class, we can create a field called message to store our message, and then in our constructor we are passing in this message and storing it like so. And so now when we go to throw our exception, we can print, and then we can say, we can give this the added information that we got from when it was actually thrown. So we throw, since we said this was the EX identifier, so we'll just use our EX and then dot message to attach it to the end of it. And now we'll run this, and you'll see super fatal fatality, I was greater than 2. And there you have it. That's how you use these try-catch blocks. So they're pretty useful once you start to use them, and you really want to, make sure your code or your programs are crashing in a way that's more manageable, and it gives you more information so you can better debug your game or your program. So there you go. Pretty simple stuff, right? And if you have any questions, leave some comments or email me at jim@smalltimeoutlaws.com, and I'll see you in the next video.